available. We're the NFCC, the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, a nonprofit organization with member offices nationwide that provide comprehensive financial reviews and student loan counseling. NFCC certified consumer credit counselors provide one-on-one financial counseling and can help you evaluate options for making student loan payments, reducing interest, debt consolidation, or even loan rehabilitation. Call 877-406-6322 or visit us online at studentloanhelp.org.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Secrets of Success. I'm your host, Bill Horan, and we're broadcasting from WHPC 90.3, the voice of Nassau Community College. Our special guest today is Bob Rosen, author of the book, Conscious. Bob, you mentioned that conscious is the new smart. With all your research, is that just a cute saying, or do you really feel that way?
No, I really do. I think that as people navigate through change, it's really important to be aware. And in the book, I lay out 4 powerful lessons to help people become more conscious. And each one is connected to one of those pitfalls. So if you're struggling with being too shallow, the key is to go deep, to become more aware and introspective. One of the examples I love to use is Oprah Winfrey. Oprah was a teenage mother. She went to college for a short time, and then she landed this job at AM Chicago, and the rest is history. But one of the things that we notice about Oprah is that she's very comfortable with herself. She's authentic. She talks about the challenges in her life, her weight. She's comfortable being vulnerable and being vulnerable on the public stage. And so that becomes a very important practice to learn how to go deep through reflection, through meditation, or whatever. Being too narrow, what we have to do is to think big. We've got to look over the horizon. We have to get curious and adaptive. We have to become really, really powerful learners. And one of the chapters in the book is called Developing Your Google Mind. And I use the Google search engine as a metaphor to basically talk about what 21st century learning is. And the most important skill is to be agile, to learn on the fly, to make connections. It's much more important than getting certain degrees. We also have to be able to look over the horizon and get up on your own drone to expand your mind and to learn faster and the like. The third practice is to get real. And get real is the antidote to being too safe. And get real is about being authentic and intentional in your life. It's about being a change agent. Now, one of the stories that I talk about in the book for Get Real is Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is, the greatest swimmer, I think, on the history of Earth. However, after he won all those gold medals and he left Beijing, his life kind of fell apart. He started drinking and smoking pot, and he got in a couple DUIs, and he put himself into the Meadows facility in Arizona, and to really look at himself. And he got real with his hijackers, his need to be special, his perfectionism, things that were really critical for being a great swimmer, but weren't so good about being a healthy human being. And so he got real with himself. And then the last practice is to move from too small, is to step up, to be bold and responsible in your life. And I think one of the great examples of this is New York's mayor, Michael Bloomberg. I mean, here Michael starts a great company. He goes on to become the mayor of New York, and now he's running a major philanthropic operation and actually thinking about being president of the United States. Michael is really somebody who has stepped up in his life, and he has tapped into his own energy and the energy of others. And really, really successful people go deep, they think big, they get real, and they step up. And the book is full of stories and tools to help people do that.
And that's what we want to be, successful. That's why we listen to The Secrets of Success.
Absolutely.
And actually, we are about to celebrate our 30th anniversary. That's not 30 shows, that's 30 years.
Oh, congratulations.
And thank you to our regular listeners. Thanks for sticking with us all these years. You've helped us be around for 30 years, and we hope we've definitely helped you. Now, you mentioned, and again, I fall into this, we're busy, so the action we take is actually the path of least resistance. Can you tell us how that ties in?
Well, we are born in a world that rewards action. And so writing a list of bullets, accomplishing something, being successful, and actually performing is what rewards us. However, it's critical to be introspective at the same time. And we define conscious as awareness in action. And what it does is it frees you up. You're more aware of your conversation with your husband or wife or partner when you go home at dinner. You're more aware of how your kids are showing up after work. You're more aware of how your boss is feeling today as she is interacting with you around a new project. You're more aware on the golf course. It's not just mindfulness. Mindfulness is a very important practice. It's teaching people to be quiet and reflective in the moment. And a lot of people do that through walking or meditation. But being conscious is being aware as you interact in the world. And that's a skill that we all have to develop. And the more conscious we are, the faster we can manage all this change and move through the change.
And you mentioned in the book that being conscious also helps us create change and, I guess, come up with new ideas and inventions. Absolutely.
In the Think Big chapter, we talk a lot about innovation. And take, for example, the whole issue of diversity and inclusion. I mean, how many people walk around with unconscious bias about people who are different than them? And because we're not conscious, it causes problems. We call them microaggressions in my field. We act in ways that alienate people because we're not aware of ourselves as we interact with them. So it really touches all parts of our lives.
Bob, at this point, we'd like to also remind our listeners that you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Today, our guest is Bob Rosen. He's telling us about his book, Conscious, and at this point, we're going to ask him, Bob, if we're fascinated by your book, Conscious, where can we learn more? Tell us about the website and where we can get the book.
Well, our website is www.healthycompanies.com. Or you can send an email to me, which is bob.rosen@healthycompanies.com. And then the book is available. It just became a national bestseller. I'm really excited about that. And I picked up the paper, and it was on the Washington Post bestseller list, and completely surprised me. I said, who wrote this book called Conscious that's competing with my book? And then I looked, and there was our name on it. So it kind of surprised me on a Sunday morning. So it's available at all bookstores and at Amazon and 1-800-CEO-READ and Barnes & Noble and the like.
We always advise our audience that it's great that we love to bring this to your attention, but you have to take the next step and be active and be proactive. Go out there, go to the website, take a look at the book, see if it's something you want to learn more about. Take the time to purchase it and, of course, read it. Find out what Bob's saying, see how it will affect your life, and just a few changes can take you from that dull, drab life to the life of success that we're all looking for. Bob, in your book, you mentioned fear of the unknown is stronger than our desire to change. Now, that's interesting, and again, you hit home with me on almost everything you say, because rather than try something new, I'll just say, I'll go with the old method. Can you talk about that?
Well, it's a natural tendency, as I was saying, to stay stable and to not change. Now, obviously, people are very different. Some people love change, but most people are reticent about changing. But if you change your relationship to change, as I was saying earlier, and you recognize that change exists all the time, and what we have to do is change our relationship to change, then it becomes less threatening. I've learned this through thousands of connections with executives. I've interviewed 600 CEOs of large companies around the world, and I've talked to a lot of people who are really trying to figure out how do they survive and thrive in this disruptive and accelerating world that we're in. And it doesn't matter whether you're the CEO of a global powerhouse company, or whether you're a supervisor of a web design team, or running a not-for-profit, or working in government. These changes, these disruptors are happening to all of us. And we talk about the impact they have on countries and the impact they have on companies, but we rarely talk about the impact that these changes have on us as individuals. And so we get burned out, we get cynical, and we have trouble navigating through all these changes. So that's really why Emma Kate, my co-author, Emma Kate Swan, and myself wrote Conscious to help people move through this crazy world of ours.
And you mentioned, in keeping with that, our job is to make change work, not just let it happen. Right.
That many of us believe that change happens to us. You know, my loved one left me. My kid got sick and I can't go to work on time. The company's introducing technology that's going to change my job. All of that is change happening to me. But if you see life as sort of change happening for me, I may not understand why. I may not like it in the moment. But if we're patient with ourselves, eventually change brings opportunity. And that's how we need to think. Uncertainty is reality. Let's embrace it and see changes happening for me and practice these 4 powerful steps.
Something that made me feel good, you say some smart people are the least conscious.
Yeah.
And we can't change our intelligent level, but certainly we can become more conscious and beat those people out, and for once we're the leaders.
Well, smart people tend to believe that they know everything. Conscious people believe that they know some things, but most things to learn come from other people in the environment. Smart people see the world as winners and losers. It's sort of a scarcity mindset. And you hoard information, and conscious people give information away. They're comfortable being vulnerable. They allow themselves to see themselves as much more than their ideas. I made this shift, I think, and I still struggle on these things like everybody, but I made this shift when, in giving a speech, the goal is not to be perceived as smart. The goal is to help people leave the room a little bigger and a little better than I found them. That's a shift from being smart to being conscious.
Bob, once again, I'd like our audience to know our guest is Bob Rosen, R-O-S-E-N. The book is Conscious. Bob, can you tell us the website?
That's healthycompanies.com.
Thanks so much for being with us today. We'd like to remind our audience that you've been listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, asking you to please join us again next week when we'll continue our journey to success.